Welcome to the Learn and Listen podcast. We help you improve your business English skills. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Michael. Today we're going to discuss common phrases for business meetings.
That's right, Michael. These phrases will help our listeners communicate better in professional settings. We'll speak at a moderate pace to help you follow along easily.
Great, Sarah. Let's start with phrases for opening a meeting.
Good idea. One common phrase to begin a meeting is, let's get started. It's simple and direct.
That's a good one. Another phrase is, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is slightly more formal.
Let's explain these phrases. Let's get started means we will now begin the meeting. It's informal and friendly.
And I'd like to call this meeting to order means I want to officially start the meeting now. It's more formal and often used in larger official meetings.
Very good, Michael. Another useful phrase is thank you all for coming. It shows you appreciate that people came to the meeting.
Let's practice using these phrases. Sarah, can you start our pretend meeting?
Of course, Michael. In a slightly more formal tone, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Excellent, Sarah. Now let's talk about phrases for introducing the meeting's purpose.
A clear way to do this is by saying, the purpose of this meeting is to discuss.
Perfect. You can also say, we're here today to talk about. This tells people what the meeting is about.
For example, you might say, we're here today to talk about our new project. This tells everyone the main topic of the meeting.
Another useful phrase is, our agenda for today includes. This helps outline the meeting topics.
Let's practice, Michael. Can you introduce our pretend meeting's purpose?
Certainly, Sarah. In a professional tone, the purpose of this meeting is to discuss our quarterly sales results. Our agenda for today includes reviewing our performance and planning for next quarter.
That was excellent, Michael. Now, let's move on to phrases for managing the meeting.
A useful phrase for this is, let's move on to the next item on our agenda.
Yes. And if you need to bring the discussion back on track, you can say, let's refocus on the main topic.
These phrases help keep the meeting organized and productive.
Now, let's discuss phrases for asking opinions during the meeting.
A polite way to do this is by saying, what are your thoughts on this?
That's good. Another option is, how do you feel about this invites others to share their ideas?
You can also say, I'd like to hear everyone's input on this matter. This encourages all participants to contribute.
Let's practice using these phrases. Michael, what are your thoughts on having more team meetings?
That's a good question, Sarah. I feel that more team meetings could improve our communication. How do you feel about this idea?
I agree with your point. More meetings could help us work better as a team. I'd like to hear everyone's input on this matter.
Excellent practice, Sarah. Now let's talk about phrases for agreeing with others.
A common phrase for agreement is, I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yes, and you can also say, that's a great point. It shows you value someone's contribution.
For stronger agreement, you might say, I couldn't agree more, or you've hit the nail on the head.
Let's practice these. Sarah, what do you think about offering more training to our team?
That's a great point, Michael. I completely agree with what you're saying. More training could really benefit our team's skills.
Now, let's discuss phrases for respectfully disagreeing.
A polite way to disagree is by saying, I see your point, but have we considered?
That's good. Another option is, I understand where you're coming from, however.
These phrases help keep a positive atmosphere even when people don't agree.
You can also say, I respectfully disagree, followed by your reasoning.
Let's practice using these phrases. Michael, I think we should have meetings every day. What do you think?
I understand where you're coming from. Sarah, however, daily meetings might be too frequent. Have we considered having meetings twice a week instead?
That's a good point, Michael. I see your point about daily meetings being too frequent.
Excellent practice, Sarah. Now, let's talk about phrases for clarifying information.
A useful phrase for this is, could you please elaborate on that point?
Yes, or you could say, I'm not sure I fully understand. Could you explain that in more detail?
These phrases show that you're engaged and want to ensure clear communication.
Let's practice. Sarah, could you explain our new marketing strategy?
Of course, Michael. Our new strategy focuses on social media and influencer partnerships.
I'm not sure I fully understand. Could you explain that in more detail?
Certainly. We plan to collaborate with popular social media users to promote our products to their followers.
Thank you for that clarification, Sarah. Now let's discuss phrases for making suggestions.
A good way to introduce a suggestion is by saying, what if we tried?
Or you could say, have we considered the possibility of?
Both of these phrases are excellent for proposing new ideas without being too forceful.
Let's practice. Sarah, do you have any suggestions for improving our customer service?
Yes, Michael. What if we tried implementing a 24/7 chat support on our website?
That's an interesting idea. Have we considered the possibility of also offering phone support?
Excellent suggestions, Michael. Now let's talk about phrases for ending a meeting.
A common phrase is to summarize the main points. This helps review what was discussed.
And you can finish by saying, "Thank you all for your time and input." It shows you appreciate everyone's participation.
You might also say, "Let's quickly go over the action items." This ensures everyone knows their responsibilities.
And don't forget to end with, "Is there anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn?" This gives a final chance for questions.
Let's practice ending our pretend meeting, Sarah.
Certainly, Michael. In a professional tone, to summarize the main points, we've discussed our quarterly results and plans for next quarter. Let's quickly go over the action items. Michael, you'll prepare the sales report. I'll draft the new marketing plan. Is there anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn?
No, I think we've covered everything. Thank you all for your time and input.
These phrases will help our listeners navigate business meetings more confidently.
Remember, listeners, practice these phrases to sound more professional and confident in your next business meeting.
It's also important to pay attention to your tone and speed when using these phrases. Speak clearly and at a moderate pace to ensure everyone understands you.
And don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you don't understand something in a meeting. It's better to ask than to misunderstand.
That's right, Michael. Business meetings can be challenging, especially in a second language, but with practice in these phrases, you'll become more comfortable and effective.
Absolutely, Sarah. Is there anything else you'd like to add for our listeners?
Yes, I'd encourage our listeners to practice these phrases with colleagues or language exchange partners. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
That's a great suggestion. Role-playing different meeting scenarios can be very helpful in building confidence.
And don't forget to listen to native speakers in professional settings whenever you have the chance. It's a great way to pick up new phrases and improve your business English.
Excellent point, Sarah. That brings us to the end of today's episode on common phrases for business meetings.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you found this information helpful. Remember to speak clearly and confidently in your next business meeting.
And don't forget to join us next time for more business English tips on the Learn and Listen podcast.
Until then, keep practicing and improving your English. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, and good luck with your business English journey.